Hey, it's Sarah. Welcome to the podcast. I have a dear friend of mine today with me for an interview. This will be the first interview on the podcast. We've got more coming up, but today we have Ina. Ina, do you want to introduce yourself?
I would love to. Sarah, thank you for asking me to be on the podcast. You are a joy, truly one of the most inspiring people I know. So it is just an honor to be here. My name is Ine-Wilme Coetzee. I am a professional cellist, I'm a creativity coach, and what I do essentially is I help entrepreneurs discover, channel, and follow through on their biggest ideas so that they can be innovators. And what that does for them is they are able to live a 10x version of their lives. So, in a nutshell, that's essentially what I do. And I'm sure we'll get more into that today.
Yeah.
But thank you so much,
Mm,
Sarah.
Thank you so much for being here. I love Ina, you guys. She knows her stuff. She she's so knowledgeable. And I love you lead with your heart. We've talked about that. And I love that you just you have such a kindness and a goodness about you that you help others to shine because of that. So, Ina,
Thank you.
can you tell us a little bit about your story? How did you get
Yes,
started in this journey of yours?
absolutely. It kind of goes back to when I started my first business. I was 18 years old. I just graduated high school, and I knew that I did not want to work a 9 to 5 job, be paid by the hour. I just knew that. In fact, when I was 8 years old, my mom told me, Ina, you would make a great entrepreneur. I was like, what does an
What?
entrepreneur do? I never heard the word before. And she said, well, it's someone who thinks of an idea, makes something, and then sells it. I was like, huh, I think I'll paint rocks and sell them. That was my idea of what an entrepreneur was.
I
So,
love
needless
that.
to say, it was something always in the back of my mind, and I never really understood what it meant. I grew up in a very high performance household. We were in competitive music. Like music is what we did. I've been playing the cello since I was 5. It's been a massive part of my life. So I was kind of trying to figure out a way to become an entrepreneur and not go the standard soloist, orchestra musician, freelance musician route. I noticed that they didn't particularly make a lot of money. So
Hmm.
I actually put my music dreams on hold and I joined Rodan and Fields, a multi-level marketing company. And it gave me an amazing start at learning sales skills, marketing skills. But 2 years into that, I hadn't really made a lot of money yet.
Hmm.
And I kept thinking, I'm going to be at the top of the company. This is going to be the thing that I do. And I would write down my 10-year goals every single day, just like Rachel Hollis says to do. And I would write down that vision as if it's already happened. But then COVID hit. And yes, it was an online business.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was still teaching online. I was teaching, well, not online yet. I was teaching music in person. And I was being paid very little, even compared to what most musicians are paid per hour if they have their own studio. I was a part of like someone else's studio, working as a piano teacher, working as a cello teacher, and everything went online. And I was like, do I quit Rodan and Fields, the thing that I thought was going to bring me to my $1 million goal, or do I take the thing that I've spent the last 20 years developing and run with it?
Mm.
I was like, passion versus experiences. How do I
Yeah.
fit them together? And yes, I was very passionate about the cello, not necessarily about teaching it right away yet.
Yeah.
So COVID then forced me to go online. And from there, I went from teaching one on one, 15 hours a week, to 16xing my income actually over the next 3 years. And I only teach 1 hour a week, but I make 15, 16 times more. It was quite a journey of creativity is what I would
Yeah.
say. And the reason why that was such a big part of my story is now I see all the pieces that were connected. I
Yeah.
see that my experience writing poetry is connected now to how I'm selling using visualizations. I see my experiences of taking speech arts and drama along with my music as a teenager, connecting to how I do public speaking. It's everything is connected.
Yeah.
And now I've discovered my unique purpose, which is to give the gift of creativity. So, whether that is nurturing creativity and innovation in the entrepreneurs that I coach, or being on stage and providing an emotional experience to the people in the audience so that they become more creative, so that they are closer to who they were put on this earth to be, that is my unique purpose. And I get to do that every single day. I'm still mind blown that that's what my life is looking like now. But
Yeah.
that's how I came to where I am now.
That's amazing. I love that you said that you can see all the pieces of your experiences leading you to
Hmm.
where you are now.
Yes.
And I think that it's amazing because I feel like the same way. Like I've had multiple times in my journey as an entrepreneur where I look back and I'm like, whoa,
Hmm.
all of those things were for like to get me here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you
And
talk
that's the
about,
cool thing. Oh, you go ahead.
no, you go. This is
Okay.
you.
Um, you're so sweet. I was gonna say, that's the cool thing about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
You can design your dream job.
Hmm.
Um, I even take like from my dance experience and from like every single thing is a part of my business now. Recently, I did a personality test, like some sort of assessment, like skills assessment, and it told me this is the kind of job you'd be amazing at. And then I read like the job description type of thing, and it was exactly what I've already designed.
What?
Every single aspect of what they told me I'd be good at. I'm like, well, I'm doing this because I enjoy it.
Yeah,
I've designed the business so that I can enjoy it. So yeah,
that's
it's really
amazing.
interesting. Everything's connected.
It really is. And I I find it interesting that you just designed it because you wanted to enjoy it. And yet it's
Yeah.
like, check, this is exactly what like this assessment said I should be doing. What do you feel like? Why is it important to enjoy the way you're doing things?
If you have joy, then there's more dopamine in your brain.
Mm,
And what that means is you're more motivated and you can channel your creativity. So, enjoying your work is vital for creating a creative environment, an environment where you can innovate at a 10x level.
yeah.
Now, basically what that means is if we raise the dopamine levels in your brain, if you are someone who experiences ADHD, all of a sudden your brain is more balanced. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I know me and you, we've talked about this lots before. You've told me it takes a longer time to get into the focused mode and it takes a longer time to get out of the focused mode.
Yes.
When you're actually in the focused mode and you're enjoying your work, you are way higher likelihood of staying focused.
Hmm.
And that dopamine will actually be sustained after you're pulled out of that focused mode.
Oh, wow.
So, dopamine is the missing piece for ADHD brains.
That's
Um,
interesting.
it's actually the chemical of motivation and of focus. So, when you're in a creative space, dopamine is high. When you're in a stressful space, cortisol is high. If we
Hmm.
can lower the cortisol and raise the dopamine, you'll stay focused.
That's amazing. I haven't really thought about that. Just like I remember when I went through my movement analysis training, and one of the biggest things they told us was they kept on being like, you guys need to play more. You need to
Mhm.
play more. You need to play more. Like
Yeah.
as we were trying to learn all of this huge system of looking at movement, and they were just like, play, play, play,
Mhm.
play. And they'd try to get us to play more. And like I hadn't really thought about like I the piece of like when we get into that state that it's conducive, it sounds like you're saying, to learning, to
Mhm.
creating,
Oh, yeah.
to to doing all the things that we want to do as entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Fascinating. That is so interesting, Ina. Um, so how do you feel like that joy has helped you in particular when you have an idea?
Such a good question. Well, when you have an idea itself, dopamine actually spikes. So there's this creative spark. I'm sure you felt it. I'm sure every person who's listening to this has felt that spark of like, I could sell this, or this could be my next content idea, or this could be what my event could be about, or this is my next offer. You have a creative spark,
Yeah.
and there's dopamine instantly.
Hmm.
Now, here's the thing. When you feel that waning of excitement from the idea and you maybe a couple hours pass by, you can't really take action on it yet. You go sit at your desk, like, "Oh yeah, I had that great idea when I was on my walk. What was it again?" And maybe you remember, maybe you don't. But if you do remember, sometimes the fire of it is gone.
Hmm.
So, how we get the fire of the idea back is in how we capture it, first of all. And secondly, in if we can connect it to the thing we enjoy most. So, so what you've already heard so far is everything's connected.
Hmm.
Joy is vital for creativity.
Hmm.
Creativity itself is connecting things that were previously unconnected.
Yeah.
And the only way you can do that is through your emotions and your memory, because there's nothing new under the sun. So, here's the cool thing. We take the joy of this business you've created. We take the ideas you have and we connect those ideas to the bigger picture of the business. And then every idea can have that spark of fire again because we've connected it. So it's like we're layering creativity upon creativity. We're
Hmm.
connecting the previously unrelated idea to the bigger picture. And then no idea is a small idea. Everything is connected to your bigger goal. And then you know that every single time you go work, you can recapture the spark and you can feel joy. And that way your work is more energizing. You
Hmm.
step away from the nap time work session, going into the dinner to bedtime chaos, and you're energized. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's mind-blowing.
That's amazing. And I like what you're saying about this joy being such an integral, like vital part
Hmm.
of work because I think often we feel like in order for it to be really good work we're putting out there, it has to be hard, you know?
Yeah.
Like there needs to be this slog with it. And yet you're saying like the opposite is true. Like the more
Hmm.
joy we can add into it,
Yeah.
the better things we're going to be producing.
Exactly. Exactly. Brene Brown actually calls it microdosing of hope.
Wow.
So you microdose hope into your day,
Yeah.
and then you have the feeling that this poem that always comes to mind gives you. So I'm gonna give you a little portion of this poem, and then I want you to think about how you feel. It's by Emily Dickinson.
Mm,
Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the song without a word and never stops at all.
mm,
It makes you feel hopeful, those
yeah.
words. Now, if we insert these micro doses of hope, just like that poem just did, that was a little microdose of hope for you, then we can have joy, even in the hardest things. So it doesn't mean that you're not going to experience creative blocks or hardship or bad things happening to you in business. Doesn't mean that. All that means is that there's two sides to every coin. You can
Yeah.
actually flip the script, you can flip it into the hopeful side. And then with creativity, make it connect to the bigger dream, the bigger vision.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. You're so wise. I love that. Um, I know that you're really passionate about helping entrepreneurs to take their ideas and to make them real, like to actually get them to follow through completely with them.
Yeah.
Why is that so important?
Fantastic question. It's like at the core of what I do. The reason it's so important is because when you have an idea, the idea can't live unless it's out there.
Hmm.
The purpose of creativity is to share it with the world. So, yes, it can give you joy, but the joy isn't going to be sustained if that creativity isn't out there in the world where you can see, how is this book being received? How is this YouTube video being received? How can I make it better? The refining process of becoming a master in any field is about putting it out there so that people can see it. One woman that I spoke to recently, she said, I want to put transformative art out into the world.
Mm.
So she's at a place in her creative process, or rather the innovation process, where she knows that in order for her work to be worthwhile, it has to be out in the world. It has to transform. So if we were to take, let's say, a piece of music, let's say it's a musician who is wanting to be paid for her musicality. She is taking the idea that the composer had, who then put it out in the world. She's interpreting the concept that the composer put out in the world.
Hmm.
Then, by performing it and putting it out in the world, the audience is then receiving it and internalizing it, interpreting it based on their own experiences. And then they go out with these new emotions and they take action. So it's a piece of music is kind of the best, one of the best analogies I can think of for putting art out in the world. Music isn't like an architecture or a painting or a sculpture. You have to create it. It's created while it's being written in a way.
Yeah.
It's very intangible. The art form takes time. It takes maybe 4.5 minutes for you to even experience it. But the only way for you to experience it is for someone else to also be hearing it. So
Hmm.
hopefully that makes sense. But
Yeah.
putting it out in the world is the number one way for the idea to actually 10x. It'll be a one time, one person idea if you keep it to yourself. But if you
Mm.
put it out there, that is how you actually see results. Zig Ziglar says, you can have anything in the world that you want if you help enough other people get what they want. And
Yeah.
the only way that you can help other people get what they want is by putting your ideas out in the world that are meant to help other people.
Yeah. That's so true. And um, I feel like so many entrepreneurs, like, it's not for lack of ideas. Like
Yeah,
we
I
have
have so
lots of
many.
things come to us. So how do you discern between like the ideas that are like good
Mhm.
and the ones that don't necessarily need to be acted on?
Mm-hmm. Really good question because sometimes we have an idea that we think is brilliant, but it's
Hmm.
actually going to be a distraction. So I don't discern between the ideas when I have them. I capture them all equally. So when I have an idea, I capture it as if it's the next world changing, life
Hmm.
changing idea, because then I know that nothing's going missing. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing is to not judge the idea until it's written down, until you've truly captured the essence of it. And there's actually a very fast way you can capture the essence. So then what I do is sometimes I'm not even ready for the idea. I let
Hmm.
it sit. So this kind of sounds like it's going against what I say. Take action on your ideas now. Take
Yeah.
action on it yesterday. Um, but the reality is sometimes ideas need to ruminate a little bit,
Mhm.
but that doesn't mean that they're not being acted on.
Yeah.
Acting on an idea sometimes means throwing it away.
Mm.
So you're still taking action on it.
Yeah.
The opposite of taking action on it is letting it sit and you never look at it again.
Yeah.
So part of the system of innovation is having a way to look at it again, look at it from different angles, look at it in the context of a different project, look at it in the context of a different season of business. I've actually looked at ideas that I've had 2 years ago, and I'm like, wow, this is so applicable for my challenge that I run every month now. And 2 years ago, I wasn't even doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like, I wasn't even ready for that idea. So
Mhm.
taking action, you can either act on it immediately, like post it, publish it, go hop on stories, talk about it. You can add it to a project. So you put it in the someday maybe kind of category, add it to a project, or you can discard it, archive it. But you never
Mhm.
actually hit delete because you can always go back to the archives and look through how, just in case,
Yeah.
it's ready for you.
Yes. And I feel like sometimes those ideas just give you new ones where you're like, maybe
Yeah,
not that, but this other thing.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's
there's
so
so much
interesting.
abundance there.
Yeah. I'd never thought about sometimes taking action on an idea means like discarding it,
Hmm.
but like
Um,
you're doing it intentionally, right?
yes, very intentionally. Yeah. For example, when I do any kind of writing, so my job is probably 90% writing.
Hmm.
Writing YouTube scripts, copywriting, emails, DMs, all the things. I actually have a graveyard of ideas section at the bottom of every page. So I don't delete anything. Instead of deleting it, I just drag it down to the bottom.
Yeah.
And then that is sometimes an entirely brand new project that I can
Yes.
categorize and use again. So that's how I can actually work 10 times faster because I never am at a lack of ideas because they're organized in a very specific way.
That's so amazing. That's smart. I love it. That way you've captured things and you've sifted through it and you you aren't wasting any of your brain power. Like you aren't
Yes.
not wasting any of it
Hmm.
because then you don't have to
Exactly.
come up with something new. You can always be like, "Oh, hey, remember this idea that I need to revisit and now I can create something new with it."
Yeah.
So what is it about this process that you take people through that can help them 10x? Can you talk about
Hmm.
that?
Yes. So when you 10x, there's a couple of categories that we look at. We look at 10xing your time.
Hmm.
We look at 10xing your value, like the amount of quality you put into the world. And we look at 10xing your freedom. So I'll just take the time as an example. We've already just talked about this a little bit, is you have never a lack of ideas because they're organized in a specific way. So that's already going to save you time.
Yes.
So we're essentially optimizing your ideas for income. We're optimizing it so that it can work for you, not against you. One of the concepts that you actually can learn is about Kairos time. So Kairos time is a essentially a mind switch. It's like we make the brain waves in your brain move faster, and the more you can move in time, the more you can get done in time, like in a
Mhm.
block of time.
Right?
More you can get done in a block of time, the slower time actually moves because you've expanded it. So that means that you can actually get 10x the amount of value out of every minute.
Wow.
So what used to take you maybe 2 hours will take you 20 minutes
Hmm.
because we've trained your brain to be so channeled on and so focused on the goal. So if we were to take the example of someone who wants to host a live event, like maybe they want to have their first conference. They've been thinking about it for a long time. They never really have taken action on it. What we do is we set up their brain in a brainstorming wave pattern.
Mhm.
And then all their ideas come flowing. We categorize the ideas they already have. And then we work very strategically so that we keep the main thing the main thing. So that's a little bit of a dive into the process. But what I love to see more is the result that comes from it.
Yeah.
They are able to then script out the entire outline of that event then in, let's say, 2 hours, which could have been a 2 day process. In 2 hours, because of that focus, it's like a laser. It's
Hmm.
very concentrated.
Yes.
Um, it's amazing. So that's how you 10x the time because you get
Hmm.
more done in less time. Then we have the freedom. So when you 10x your time, that means you have more space for more creativity. So, creativity requires two lenses. It actually requires a very focused lens, which is where we 10x your time,
Mm-hmm.
and it requires a very passive, laid back, relaxed lens.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm seeing you nodding. You're like, yes, I know this. That's why I go on walks. That's why I do my yoga every morning. Like you
Yep.
know this so well. Entrepreneurs can get into the mode of work, 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 work. Every day is a work day if it allows to be a work day. Every hour is a work hour. And I used to be like this. I used to like squeeze the life out of every minute because I thought I
Mhm.
had to. I thought that
Right.
was the only way. But it's about working smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
So, with the freedom piece of it, when we have the expanded time, you're not working as many hours, but you're still getting the same result or better result.
Mhm.
You all of a sudden have an openness. In this book, I actually have it right here on my desk. I don't know if you're gonna have a YouTube version of the
Cool.
episode, but 10x is easier than 2x. He talks about having free days, taking 150 free days each year.
Oh, cool.
And on those free days, we want to activate the left side of your brain and the right side of your brain at the same time. And the reason we want to do this is because the left side of your brain is more analytical, more systematic.
Mm-hmm.
And then the right side of your brain is free, open, creative, nonlinear. What does that sound like? The focused and
Yeah.
the expansive
Mm-hmm.
at the same time. So what that means is when we take this free day and we activate both sides of your brain at the same time very strategically, you are going to know what to create in the next 10 minutes and you're going to know what to create in your entire lifetime.
That's so cool.
So that's where the ideas are just going to come flowing because
Mm-hmm.
everything is going to be connected to your bigger vision.
Yeah.
And that's how you 10x. You have 10x the ideas, which means you have an abundance, gives you an abundance mindset. And then if you're taking action, you're going to see results faster, you're going to see income faster, and then you're going to be able to 10x your income, your freedom, and your life.
Wow. That's so amazing. And I feel like that's what entrepreneurs want, right? That's why they get into
Hmm.
entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Because what does that do when you have that freedom and that you've 10x things? Like what is that going to do for you in your personal life?
Hmm. Well, you're going to be working in your unique ability.
Hmm.
And that means that you're going to be able to show up as the grounded parent you want to be. So imagine I'm just going to take someone like me as an example,
Yes.
a mom in her 20s who has an 18-month-old who maybe naps maybe a lucky 3 hours each day. And she's working in her unique ability. So,
Mm.
working in that unique ability has figured out the creative system, the innovation system. After that work block, normally she might feel so drained, like, oh, I just was like grinding,
Hmm.
the like squeezing the life out of that nap time work block. But now she is so energized because she knows that it's actually moved the needle. There's a big element of trust involved. So
Mm.
she's actually trusting herself now that the work is working. The work is working on her, the work's working on the business. It's actually going to work.
Yeah.
Baby wakes up and she plays with him for like 30, 45 minutes without
Yeah.
a care in the world, doesn't even think about the business again because she knows, yep, I did the work that I needed to do. I'm
That's
going
so
to reap the harvest. You always reap what you sow.
yeah.
When you are working in your unique ability with these systems, you reap greater than what you sow.
Mm,
So you're going
that's
to be the
amazing.
mom that trusts herself, that has this
Yeah.
confidence exuding out of her. And then your kid is going to see that
Yeah.
and going to grow up with such confidence and start trusting themselves. Kids, they watch you so closely.
So closely. They're little
It's
sponges.
crazy. They really are. They
Mhm.
copy everything.
Yeah.
So the question that I want you to ask yourself person listening to this is, which mom do you want to be? The one who's working so crazy hard during those nap times, not trusting if it's going to work, or the one who ends that nap time work block being confident that it's working,
Yeah.
trusting herself, and then it's like a brand new day. It's like you just had a wonderful night of sleep. Like you feel
Uh,
so good.
I love that. I feel like when we set out to be an entrepreneur, that second scenario is like the dream, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Where your your business is working for you and fitting into your life. That's why
Yeah.
we pursue it. And here you are. And like not only is joy an essential part of you getting your work done, but then like that joy is pouring into the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And like what an environment for a child to grow up in.
Hmm. Hmm.
I love that so much, Ina.
That makes me think of a quote. The I think it's from Ed Milet. He says
Mm,
one of the greatest disservices you can do to your kids. Oh no, he actually says it differently. He says the most insidious form of child neglect
neglect. Yep.
is a parent who does not follow their own goals and dreams.
Yeah.
And in the conversations I've had the last like 5, 6 months with entrepreneurs, I ask them, what does your dream business look like? And they say, I'm writing novels, I'm traveling, I'm working 4 hours a week, like Tim Ferriss style.
Yeah.
And then I ask them, what are you doing now? They're like, I'm doing one on one coaching. I am doing this. And I ask them,
Yeah.
why aren't you doing the thing that lights you up now?
Yeah.
Like, what if the thing that lights you up now, your unique ability, could be the very thing that makes your business a reality? Like that dream business a reality?
Yeah.
Why do we spend so much time doing the things that we think we have to do to build a foundation? We want our foundation to be built in a way that it sustains the dream that we have. It has to be connected. So
Yeah.
we should start doing the things that lights us up now so that our kids, the future generations can follow suit so that they can go and fulfill their dreams so that they don't feel pressured to go and take a 9 to 5 job as a pharmacist assistant,
Yeah. Is
me
that you
at one
were
point
gonna
in
do?
my life, so that they
Yeah.
can just thrive. And I know that that's what you want for your kids, person who's listening.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I love that. I've definitely like had to really look at the example I'm setting and what I'm allowing my
Hmm.
business to do to me,
Yeah.
and to be like, is this what I want? Like, what do I want for my kids? And what do I want for me? Like, how can I can't expect to get a fruit that's different than what I'm planting, right? That if
Yes.
I am like I'm out there working and I'm making it hard and I'm like letting it take over things, how in the world do I expect to have more freedom and
Hmm.
more joy and like that lightness of being, just like
Yeah.
how can I? I literally can't because
Hmm.
whatever energy I'm bringing to my work is going to get infused into it, and that's what's going to come out.
Yeah.
And so I love that it's an important part of like, that's the foundation that you
Hmm.
want is the freedom, the creativity, the
Yeah.
joy, and um, that is
Hmm.
innovative.
Yes, that's how you innovate. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because when you are waiting to quit something so you can do something else,
Yeah.
even as an entrepreneur, maybe you're doing one on one coaching when you really want to be at the beach writing your novel,
Yeah.
then you are waiting to quit. You're not going to be invested. You're not
Yeah.
going to trust yourself. I always think of the analogy of, let's say, like a high school sweetheart that you know you're going to break up at the end of high school, you're going to go your separate ways. You're not going to be as invested. You're not going to let yourself fall in love. Maybe you will, but you're going to experience heartbreak. So you're not going to fall in love as deeply as you might if you
Mhm.
know this is my life partner.
Yeah.
So why not make your business, optimize it to be your life partner instead
Hmm.
of waiting to break up with the business when it no longer serves you? Like you're just setting
Yeah.
yourself up for heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
Do the thing now. When you have the idea, do it now. Don't wait.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how you build the dream life, where you can look at an average Tuesday and you're no longer feeling like you're escaping from your work. You're enjoying it so much that that feels like a vacation.
Yeah.
That's true freedom.
For sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because work, it really can be a joy
Yeah.
for sure. And I feel like there's a joy in the effort of it then
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
in the stretching and in the growth because it can be so uncomfortable. But if there's that foundation, it's going to be different.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
how have you found that for yourself in your work?
Well, I used to wake up at 4:30 a.m., work from 4:30 to 7:30, try to squeeze in an hour in the morning, and then work from noon to 3. And I would work in a way where I'd look back at the year and nothing really changed.
Hmm.
I would look at my calendar and see like what were the types of activities I did, and I was no better off emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, physically than I was the year before. And I had to take a really deep look at how do I feel when I work?
Mm.
How do I want to feel when I work?
Yeah.
And what is no longer serving me towards the life that I want to have?
Yeah.
So for me specifically, it has looked like actually working less hours, spending more like having presence, true presence with my family. That's the only way to have balance, by the way, is to be
Hmm.
present in each activity. Balance
Yes.
is otherwise just a myth. Um, and I really do feel balanced now. Um, like when I'm with Francis, my 18-month-old, he laughs and I'm like joking along with him, like being silly, and it's like I'm a child again. Like that's how it really feels.
Yeah.
Um, and yes, there are stressful things in life. It's not like I'm gonna be carefree as a child ever again. But when you infuse joy in your life, then you can reach that dream today.
Yeah.
Stop waiting is essentially the
Mm.
message that I have is just stop waiting for the feelings. Create do things that create the feelings you want to have.
Yes.
Mhm.
Bravo. I completely agree. I feel like that's a lot of what um the work that I do is like, and also realizing that you can. I feel like a lot of times we feel that the feelings just arise, like we can't really do anything about it. But
Mhm.
like what you're saying is that like you can create the feelings that you want, just like you can create an idea.
Mhm. That's true creativity. You create the life you want. You create the feelings you want. And there's so many ways to go about that, so we won't go into that.
Yeah.
But there really is a way. Like I want you to see this episode that you're listening to as your microdose of hope today.
Yeah. That's amazing. Ina, what would you say to the entrepreneur who has found success, um, and but they're nervous about changing how they do things in this like new way that you're suggesting? Like, what would you say to that person?
That is such a good question. I would first want to find out what parts of their day are painful for them.
Mm.
So maybe they are creating at a time that's not right for their chronotype. Maybe they're creating at a time that, like, too many days in a row. Like, I want to look at their rhythms and really take a deep dive on their systems
Mm.
because your systems dictate the outcome of your life. So, if you show me your schedule, can probably kind of predict what your life is going to look like in about 5 years if you keep doing the same things.
Yeah.
So I'd want to look at the order in which they do things because they've obviously created some success with what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But in anything where we achieve mastery, it's the small tweaks, the
Yeah.
small changes that really help us optimize. Um, for example, an athlete, there was actually the story in the beginning of the book Atomic Habits of this team of, I think they were bikers.
Mm-hmm.
And the coach, he actually went to every tiniest detail, even to painting the inside of their vans white so that they could see every speck of dust on the bikes. He was optimizing every tiny detail. And if you've already achieved a measure of success, you're like financially or business wise, it's really the small details, the small tweaks that when we figure out what is really the linchpins of your business, that's when you're going to be able to blow up, go to the next level.
Yeah.
Um, Everybody plateaus and they have to let go of 80% of what's holding them back before they can have another 10x leap. Once again, that's what I learned in this book. 10x is easier than 2x. And if we can figure out what are the things holding you back, the 80%, and we take that 20% and optimize for it, implementing a different order, then they will want to change how they're doing
Mm,
things
yeah.
because they see the vision. Myron Golden says that nobody does anything except if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
So people only do things if they want to. So if they
Yep.
can see that these optimizations are going to bring them to the next level, they will want to. That's how I
Yeah.
see it. I can sell them on it.
I love
Um,
that.
because then I can help them. That's
Yeah.
that's really what I want, is I want them to reach the next level. There's always another level.
Always.
Hmm.
For sure.
But you can
And
go about it joyfully. That's the
yes.
key.
Yeah. I feel like so many of us were sold on the idea of like working really hard and just like white knuckle grip your way
Yeah.
there.
Hmm.
And what you're saying is that like that may have worked, but like I know for sure there's a certain point where it like doesn't work anymore,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? It can
Me
get you so
too.
far, but like you're saying that there's a way that you can still get where you want to go without like white knuckle gripping it. That is just
Yes.
like easier.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be so hard.
Yeah.
And I've talked to actually a lot of entrepreneurs in the like multiple six-figure space the last couple of months, and I found that they actually don't really want things that are that different than someone who's maybe making 50,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
They want to trust their ideas. They want to see results fast. And they want to know where their business is taking them. They want to know their vision. They all want the same things. And one of the number one things was trust. So I would teach the same framework to someone who is in the multiple six-figure realm wanting to go to seven figures
Mm-hmm.
versus a five-figure entrepreneur wanting to go to six, because it's foundations. Once
Yes.
again, we're building the foundation of joy, foundations of systems that nurture innovation. And
Mm-hmm.
then every time they'll be able to layer upon layer upon layer creativity and then reach the next level.
That's amazing. So cool. And I definitely um I love that you're saying it's not so different, like no matter what level,
Hmm.
because this is foundational. It's like a
Exactly.
fundamental skill
Yes.
that can apply whatever stage you are at and um, help you get where you wanting to go.
Hmm.
So cool, Ina. Ina, is there anything else that you would like entrepreneurs to know?
Yes. There's actually a way that you can achieve exactly what we're talking about. Have a completed project in 4 weeks. A brand new program is actually launching today, the day that we're recording this episode, and it'll be open another time. So I'll just make sure Sarah has the link for this.
Mm-hmm.
It is called the Innovation Incubator. So when you innovate, you're paid for your ideas. And that's really what every entrepreneur wants.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be paid for their time. They don't want to be paid for their effort. They want to be paid for their ideas.
Yes.
Because if we have an abundance of ideas and we're paid for that, That means that we have an abundance of wealth.
Yes.
So, in the innovation incubator, you'll be able to take an idea and put it out in the world within 4 weeks. So, as we're recording this, it's November 15th. So, for example, the first one is going to run November 22nd to December 20th. So, before Christmas, you'll
Mm,
actually be able to put something out in the world and start being paid for it, start selling it. I've done this process many, many times in my own business, and it's so joyful because you feel like you're actually making traction, like you're
yes.
actually going to see a result. You're trusting yourself finally. So if that is something that is interesting to you, make sure to apply to hear the offer. We can hop on a call. I can help you see if this could be a good fit for you, and we can go from there. What I want is to optimize your time. So hopping on a quick sales call with me, we will be able to save some time, see if you're a good fit.
I love that. And you told me the name of your program and I was like, dang, it's so good. And I know like a teeny bit of the inside of it and
Hmm.
it
Sarah
sounds
was there
phenomenal.
when I had the
Yes.
idea. Sarah
And
was a witness.
I witnessed how fast you did it also.
Three
And I
weeks.
was blown away. Like you were like, yes. And in fact, here are the steps that I would do. And I was like, okay, girl, like take that and run with it. I'm so excited for you. And I will definitely put a link to your pages for that and ways that they can contact you. Where can they find you?
Instagram is the place that I actually use as an idea dumping ground in the
Yes.
best way. I hop on stories the instant I have an idea, and then I also have reels and like more longer term ideas that I've developed more. So if you want to learn more, Instagram is the place to go. My handle is ina.wilme, ine.wilme, but I'll make sure Sarah has the link to that.
Hmm.
And I love hearing your voice. So send me a voice message, send me a DM. You can even just send me a DM with the word or with the phrase Sarah Godfrey, just so I know that this is where you're coming from, and we can chat. I just want to know what your dream business looks like. Like send me a DM with that. That would be an amazing place to start.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ina. It's been a joy.
Thank you.